Welcome back to another episode of the AMP podcast. Today, I am joined by Coach Jess Wagner, who is our adult success coordinator here at AMP. And today we're going to talk about a lot about kind of like her job at AMP and what she's done for the last year and a half or so working with us here at AMP, kind of what brought her to the industry in the first place, and what makes AMP different, and how do we go about building our community and building confidence within our clients, and also the other C word of consistency. Right. And I think that, Coach Jess has done an amazing job. She's been quite the personality in the gym for our clients, and someone that everyone looks to for motivation, and, really has done a great job helping build the community that we have today. And we'll talk a little bit about that, the fun aspect of fitness that isn't always there. But that's what really keeps people coming back, because you may come to the gym just to get, to lose some weight and, to get in better shape. But most people stay because of the community and the friendships that they've built. And, Jess has done an amazing job along with Coach Hannah of building that environment and that, that party atmosphere, when we have our events and when we have our challenges and just every day, with our clients, making it something that is not, just a slog, and it's fun. It's a fun environment and something that people want to come back. So thank you, Jess, for joining us today. We look forward to this conversation, and tell us a little bit about what brought you to AMP in the first place, and what got you into coaching, I guess, in the first place.
Cool. Well, thank you for all of that.
Absolutely.
So what got me into coaching, I'd say I played sports growing up. Baseball was a huge sport in my family. I grew up on the field. And then from there, I just got into fitness when my brother brought me to the gym for the first time and basically showed me how to literally do everything in the gym. Mm-hmm. And I was just following him around for years and just fell in love with fitness in general. And then from there, I was like, I want to help other people feel the same way. So I grew into a passion of just helping people live happier and more gracefully and live like happy, long lives. Because I think sometimes people think aging is scary, mm-hmm. but it doesn't have to be scary. So I want people to know that they could live long, happy, healthy lives, and they could grow old, but also in a way where they can enjoy it as well. Absolutely.
And, I think, the passion behind, what you do and what we do here at AMP, that's the one thing that I keep hearing from our clients is, just how good the people are that work here at AMP and how much they care. And it really shows through your actions and the way that you approach every day and, every client, just the relationships that you've built in the short period of time that you've been with us. It's been over a year, but to me, it feels like a flash. Yeah. And that's really the thing that I always hear. It's not about like, oh, they're the best at teaching me how to squat. It's like they motivate me, they help me, and they push me, but also like they're fun to be around at the same time. So I do think that there's that importance, and there's also obviously the important side of the science of what we do and making sure that people are doing it safely. And I think that's a big part of your role here at AMP is it says it in the name, it's success coordinator. So, making sure that people are seeing success. They might be showing up, but we don't know what's going on at home, and we don't know how they're feeling about their results. We don't know if they know they're getting results, right? So, what is it about your role here at AMP that, that you're able to kind of provide that context of, this is where you were and this is how far you've come? What are some of the things that we do to kind of help people in that part of the process?
Yeah. So basically, what I do is I make sure people are progressing, but I kind of like that they don't have to think about it sometimes. Mm-hmm. They do their InBody scans when they come in. They do them every 3 months. We see whatever's on the paper, but it's more so for me of like, are they coming in? Are they having a good time? Are they staying safe while doing it? But also, like, are they progressing in a way where they don't really have to think about it? Right. So I guess, like, my main job is, like, to keep the clients happy when they're inside the gym and working out, but also, like, keeping them happy outside of here. Like, every 3 months, it's not always about what's on the paper, but it's like, okay, how are you feeling? Are you able to now run around with your kids without getting gassed? Like, do you feel better when you're walking to work in the morning? Like, little things like that. It's like basically like what my job is to make sure like people are getting here.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that sometimes we forget is, we're looking at the numbers on the scale. We're looking at the body composition numbers. We're looking at the weight that they're lifting in the gym. But that's not always the thing that the client realizes. And sometimes they might be doing it and doing it better. Like getting in and out of the car might have been more difficult before they started training here. And then maybe they start to think, you know what, actually, it doesn't hurt when I get in and out of my car. And when I turn over my right shoulder to check to change lanes, I can do it without pain. And those are the little things that I remember early on in my career that I never really realized was like a benefit. It was all about like fat loss and getting strong, which those come with the territory. But the little things sometimes go a really long way. And again, there's reasons why people start and stop. And sometimes it's because the reason why they stop is because they're not having fun. Yeah. And it's also because they don't know what results they're getting. Maybe the scale hasn't necessarily changed as much as they thought it should. But then when we show them the InBody, well, look, actually, you only lost 1 pound on the scale, but you lost 3 pounds of body fat. Yeah. And you gained 2 pounds of muscle. That is a huge improvement. Mm-hmm. Your waist measurement went down. Your visceral fat went down. So those are the things that I think, sometimes our job is just kind of remind them and show them, some of the results. And if we're not measuring those things, then it's going to be really difficult to show them anything, right?
No,
a lot of people will probably just go to the gym every day and they maybe just look in the mirror, they look at the scale, but it's our job to kind of dive a little bit deeper, into the numbers and into, the questions.
Yep.
And those are the types of things, our job is to be listening for the right, listening for the answers and listening to where do we fit in? Where can we help? And the number one thing that they need to do is be consistent and show up. And we're here to make this the least painful environment, if not fun environment for them to do so. Yeah. But what is it? Why is it important, I guess, for us to focus on that and not, I feel like just as much focus goes into off of the training floor as in the training experience itself. What do you think has why is that so important? Why do we focus so much on what they're doing at home or what they're doing like in between the days that they work out here with us? Touch on that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, most adults that train here are very busy. So their schedules are crazy to begin with. So even getting them in here is a huge win, but focusing on what's going on outside of here is like very important because it's all good and dandy if you're coming here and you're lifting and you're getting an hour of lift in. That's great. But when you go home, are you sitting at your desk on the computer all day?
Right.
Are you sitting on the couch and you're like, oh, I got my workout done, I'm good. Focusing on the small wins outside of here go a long way. Like I usually tell people, okay, you know what, you have a desk job, maybe get up every hour and go for a little bit of a walk, like whether it's 5 or 10 minutes. And, after they consistently are doing it, they come to me and they're like, wow, that actually like helps me so much. I actually feel more energized during the day because I'm doing things like that. So keeping them on track outside of here, I think like little things like that, they go a very, very long way. And it's just building good habits, like and stacking the good habits day by day. So it's like little walks or putting a reminder to drink water, like little things like that. You might not think it's like that big of a deal until you start to consistently do it and you feel and see the difference. And then you're like, oh, wow, like Coach Jess was right. This little walk really does help me. And then that little walk will turn into a longer walk. And then it'll turn into like something that it's like a non-negotiable and you have to do it every single day.
Absolutely. Yeah. So. You don't realize it until you commit to it, right? So many times you'll have somebody that maybe complains of like migraines or like just having, just like not feeling great and just adding more water to their every day, just going for that walk, getting outside, even when it's 12 degrees outside like it is today. All of those things lead to, just the mental aspect of your day-to-day. It moves things, it shakes things up. Obviously you're moving, just getting more movement, getting more steps in. We try to get our clients, what's the number that we're looking for right now? Like
over 7,000 minimum.
Yeah. And I think that's, there's a lot of days, even myself, where if you're working from a desk, you look at your watch, you're like, I got 3,500 steps today. It's 9:00 at night. It's like that. I can't let that happen every day. And I think that assessing not just the gym aspect and just the workout itself, but assessing them holistically and understanding like the different lifestyle factors, like that 10-minute walk during lunch can be a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes might be about 1,000 or 2,000 steps, but like you said, if you do it just 10 minutes one day, turns into 20, turns into your entire lunch break. Maybe you're eating while you're walking, or maybe you're taking a phone call while you're walking. There's so many things like that, people don't realize the impact of stacking those, like you said, stacking habits. And again, being consistent with that is really over time, 2 to 3 months later, you're like, wow, I just increased my steps from an average of 2,500 to an average of 7,000. How many more calories have they burned now? And if they eat the same and they're still working out, odds are they're going to be burning a lot more calories and losing a lot more body fat, which is essentially why they came in the first place. But like you said, you don't want them thinking and over analyzing everything. Yeah. That's our job, right? We just want to kind of focus on the positive, focus on the little things, and hopefully they go the right way. Yeah. And I think, again, another thing I think you do a great job with is welcoming people into the community, right? How some of the things like really feeling comfortable in this environment. When you walk in the door, you've got, the black turf, we've got the strength and conditioning equipment, we've got some music going, could be intimidating. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things or some of the conversations you have with some of our clients that have maybe never been in an environment like this, and what kind of like calms their nerves and allows them to really commit to it?
Yeah, I think aside from like the conversations that we have, I think that everyone that walks in, they're going to get greeted by somebody. We're screaming their name from across the gym. So when they walk in, they're like, whoa, like I'm being seen already. I just walked in the door. So I think like starting off with that is so important. And then it's all about like the people that we have here and our attitudes. Like it really depends on the coaches, their attitudes, and just how they are inside the gym, like we're very lucky to have such amazing coaches here that are so bubbly and, so approachable. So it's like when people come in here, they're not scared to go up to a coach. They're like, they want to come and talk to us. Mm-hmm. So I think like, just like the way that we present ourselves is super important. But I think what we do here also is like introducing new people to the clients that have been here for a while. Maybe if we know, this person really likes horseback riding. I know Lisa loves horseback riding. Let me, try to get them connected, and like just making them feel comfortable. Like the people here are just normal people. Like sometimes I know coming into a gym, they're intimidated and they're like, they think everyone's in here like is like crazy fit and they're going to be doing backflips. But it's like, no, these are just regular people doing the same thing that you're doing and probably came in feeling the same exact way you do on the first day. So I think it's just important to like show them that like the people in here are normal, they're lifting, they probably have similar goals to you, and just trying to connect them with other people I think is like super important. But
no, that's huge. I mean, there's so many environments. Like most people when they go to work, students when they go to school, when you go to a regular commercial gym, there's nobody greeting you, saying hi your first day. Maybe they're telling you to scan your code on the way in, but there's no one, greeting you with a smile, yelling your name, fist bump, high five. Like that environment in itself, I mean, that's the simplest way to put it is like just that step is so important that we've even, again, something that I didn't realize that we were doing, but we would get that from parents like, oh my God, she walks in the door and everybody's like yelling her name across the gym. Like it builds confidence that she's in the right place. Mm-hmm. Especially with some of our clients that might be a little bit on the shyer side. But no, I think that those are the types of things that make this environment special and different. And again, it kind of like creates like that safe space or like that, what Starbucks calls it, the third place, right? You've got home, you've got work, and you've got the gym. Mm-hmm. And it's that community that, without it being curated and intentionally created, where it probably wouldn't be what it is today. And I think that those are the things that we talk about a lot outside of training. What can we do to create that environment? And, I think, again, you've created and you've brought so many creative ideas through the door, to help us, make it more of a fun environment, right? Like we've been running challenges for years, prior to you coming in. And, I think you've really brought some awesome ideas. And let's talk a little bit about that. Like, what are some of your favorites that you've been able to implement as you've come in?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've definitely had a lot of freedom to like come up with creative ideas and stuff like that, which I love to do. But I think the most recent one that I really enjoyed was our Boobs and Biffs boot camp. It was for breast cancer and for spina bifida. We have a client here, Joe. He's the best. He's a wheelchair athlete, and he has spina bifida. So October was his awareness month, and it was also breast cancer awareness month. So we were able to team up and raise money for both of them. My mom's a breast cancer survivor, so we raised money for her team. And then we also raised money for Joe's. So it was kind of, we made it a little friendly competition, like who can raise more. And the community here like completely showed up for it. We raised like over $7,000. It was incredible. And we had a huge boot camp. Everyone came in wearing the colors. It was like teal or yellow for Joe's team. And then it was pink for breast cancer. And we just had so much fun. Like it was like a great time. And like, it was for a great cause, and it was just like the way that everyone showed up and the community showed up here was amazing. But that was like a huge one for me. I thought that was awesome. But other than
that was a lot of fun. I mean, Joe, being somebody that I've known my whole life, essentially,
crazy.
It's we kind of reconnected in the last couple of months. Back in the day when I was working at a basketball facility, Joe's one of those guys like, born with spina bifida, but there's nothing that you can tell him he can't do. Yeah. And, he's like the hardest worker in the room, and he's, it's incredible, he's very inspiring, to say the least. And Jess, with your mom, going through breast cancer was a really special thing to be able to, provide for that as well. And I think it was at first I was like, wait, what are we doing? Like together? But it was so cool. Yeah, I mean, to be able to raise that much, it was just absolutely incredible. And again, like it just speaks to the community that has been built, but without, not by chance, for sure. A lot of your help and, the community, the team, the rest of the team and the rest of the AMP family that really, works together and just, we have a great time.
Yeah.
With those workouts.
Always fun.
For sure. What are some others? I know, especially like around our challenges. I think our challenges, not that they were getting stale, but like we were kind of doing the same thing over and over again. And you introduced the idea of teams, like bringing teams in. Tell us about how that came about and like what it kind of evolved into over the last year or so. That sometimes you start things with an idea and then it's like, oh, let's go for it. And then it turns into something else. You're like, oh my goodness, this is getting out of hand. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah,
the teams were awesome. So the challenges, it was kind of just a solo mission. Like people would come in and do their challenges and they yada, yada, whatever. But to make it more fun and more community based and more competition, I guess I like competition. I guess it's like the common trend. We decided, Hannah and I both decided like it would be cool to like put everyone on a team and make it like a team challenge. Like how many points can your team get? And it ended up being crazy huge. Everyone was going nuts over it. Like it was crazy. There were some people taking it very seriously.
Yeah. What are some of the, what are we tracking during the challenges? Like how do you get points?
Yeah. So it really, I think we did mainly the same thing for most of the challenges, but it would be like tank top Wednesdays. So you got on Wednesdays, you have to wear a tank top and you would get like 3 points. Yep. Or it would be things like post on social media about us and you maybe tag a friend, take a selfie with a coach. It would be little things like hit a finisher, like little things just to get them like on track and motivated throughout the challenge. And if we had theme days, we'd always do like a spirit week. So if they participate in spirit week, we had like a twin day. We had like wear anything but workout clothes day where I wore a complete suit.
Yes.
And you had your friend come in and do a presentation and I was in a full men's suit.
That was awesome.
Like, so embarrassing.
Like, hi.
I was like, this is what I do here. Yep. Little things like that. It was fun. Yeah.
I mean, it was ridiculous, but that's what makes it fun. And obviously we had just the point system of having, getting your steps in, getting your workouts in, all that stuff, all the basics. Yes. But adding all that icing on top, I think really created an awesome experience, an unforgettable experience. And I think that those are the things that, again, you've brought through the door way better than I have been able to create. And I think those are those memorable things that people will look back on and say, maybe they lost the weight, but they remember, the ridiculous, clothes that you wore to work out that day, or, the crazy twin day that we had where everybody was dressing up like Hannah and you. It was just so funny.
Yeah. Crazy.
But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about, kind of like what are we looking for with these like weekly challenges, or I'm sorry, weekly kind of like check-ins and, when we have our scheduled meetings with our clients, whether it's their first month of being a client, whether it's during one of those challenges, or whether it's like throughout the year where we want to make sure we have those touch points. Why are those days so important, and what are some of the specific things that we're tracking to make sure that like we're seeing that actual measurable progress?
Yeah. So every week I'll sit down and I'll see like who has been here in the past week, who hasn't been here in the past week.
Attendance is important,
yeah,
right? If you don't show up, you can't get results.
Yeah. It's as simple as me sending them a text like, yo, where you at?
Yeah.
Or, yo, why'd you late cancel? Like,
Yep.
what's up with that? Like, when are you making this up? And they appreciate it so much. They'll write back and be like, oh, I didn't know that you noticed.
I think
like,
it's like you've done a great job of like, it's like healthy chop busting.
Yeah.
Like you want to challenge them, but you want to keep it light at the same time. Yeah. It's like, hey, we're really mad at you for not showing up. It's like, all right, now I'm not going to come in because I know you're mad. But if you do it in a way that has a little bit of humor, I think that really goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was a huge chop buster.
Yep.
I was going to say something. He's a chop buster,
Yes.
so I definitely got that from him. But it makes it more fun. Then people are like, then they kind of give it back to me. But little things like that. And they're like, I didn't know that. You didn't know that I wasn't there. I was like, I know everything. Right. I see everything. I'm here all the time. And if you're not here, I know it.
Yes.
But they really appreciate it. At the end of the day, they're like, oh, thank you for checking in. I really appreciate that. And it helps keep them on track. And even like, let's say somebody's like, oh, you know what? I need to take like 3 months off. And if it's like gets down to the line where like they really do need to do it, I still check in with them and they really appreciate it. And as of recent, there was somebody, her name's Liz. She's amazing. She was really struggling getting back in here. We had a new challenge rolling around and I was like, you know what? Just come in for the challenge. Like, let's just try to reestablish it. Let's try to get a routine back and going. Whether it's you're coming in like one time a week, like just try to get back in here. I know your schedule's crazy, but let's just try. Mm-hmm. And I was calling her like every day, like, you coming in tomorrow? You coming in tomorrow? And then eventually she started to come and she has still been here even after the challenge. So it's awesome. Like, and she's like, I couldn't have done it without your support and, motivation and little things like that. Like they really do go a long way. Like some people just really need like the extra push and it might be annoying to some people, but it is what it is. I think that they appreciate it at the end of the day.
I think it's motivating in the same way. I think that's an amazing, specific story. Essentially the routine, like getting knocked out of a routine is something that, it only takes like a couple of weeks before you like lose a habit, right? It might take months to start a habit and to make it a habit and ingrain that thing. But, what happens? Like, what are some of the things that happen that knock people out of a routine?
Yeah, I think schedule is the main thing, or like a change of a job, or maybe their kids are going into sports, maybe they're going in season, things like that are really what knock people up.
Sickness, vacation, injury, like
all
any life. It's usually when life gets in the way, right? Most people that join a gym or they start out on a new goal, they stick with it for 2, 3, 6, 8 months. And then something happens in their life that kind of knocks them out of that routine. And if it's a big enough thing, it's going to really take a long time for them to get back.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a big part of what you do. And what we do here at AMP is, even though you might not be with us, you're still on our mind. You hired us, whether it was 6 months ago, 5 years ago, you're still on our list, on our database, right? But we actually truly care, and we want to reach out because you originally told us that you wanted to lose the weight, and maybe you lost the weight, but we probably can only assume that if you've been gone for 6 months, you've probably put most of that back.
Yep.
And maybe you're a little afraid because you think we're going to be mad at you. But that's not what it is. We understand that essentially in life, things happen. And like you said, career, family, you name it, injuries. It all happens. But having someone like you in their corner is amazing, and having like the team at AMP really address it in that way. It's not like we're mad at you. It's like, hey, let's give this another go. And then sometimes it takes that much more of a push to get somebody back in the door. And then that first month or two, it's like, okay, I'm getting the engine going. And then it's like, all right, now I've established and now I can really get back on that routine and stick with it. But yeah, I mean, it happens to all of us. I think it's the overarching theme of what we do is remind people why they started and remind them that they need to get back on track, you know, and that's the only way you're consistent is if you got to walk through those doors and, you know, sometimes they don't have the energy to do what we're asking, what maybe the program is asking them to do. So we make adjustments, right? Like exactly. It's not an environment that it's like our way or the highway. It's like, hey, okay, you slipped on the ice yesterday. Maybe we're not going to deadlift, right? Exactly. We might modify your program. So I think that's essentially how we show how much we care is, we're customizing everything.
And
it's not just
I also
write it down
think like showing them when it's hard and like if they are working out, even when like things are going on outside of here and they're like, oh wow, I can actually do this when I'm so busy outside of here. Like showing them that like it is possible.
You're stronger than you think.
Yeah, like you could absolutely still find the time for yourself even with everything else going on and show them the importance of that. Yeah,
and even in the gym, I see you do it all the time. A little bit of a nudge, like, hey, 5 more pounds on that. Let's go. Push yourself. You know, I know you're tired, but let's go. And then they're better for it. What always happens, you dread the workout, and then after you're done, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I did. Yeah, right? Exactly. And it's that we hear the same thing every single day. But yeah, I mean, some of the things I think that we're here for is to kind of like I said, like remind them why they started and what they're doing. But not only that, like sometimes they started to lose 15 pounds and then they lose the 15 pounds. Now, if you have the mindset of like, okay, that's what I came here for, I'm out. What are some of the things that we've done to kind of like remind people of the long-term process, right? Like fitness is not like something that you just do for 3 months and then lose the weight and then you never gain it back. Yeah. Or, you know, whatever it might be, like have the energy that you're looking for, get stronger. You know, what are some of the ways that we've been able to kind of like keep that in top of mind where like it is something that it is a lifestyle habit change. It's not just a short-term fix.
Yeah. Right? I like when people focus on like the weight, obviously, but I think like even when that's their main goal, I know that there's more behind it. So I think it's getting down to like, okay, you want to lose 15 pounds, but why? Yes. You know, like why do you want to lose 15 pounds? What is that going to do for you? Like when you lose the 15 pounds, which you will, what's going to be different? You know, and like then that really gets to the root of like what their actual goal is. So yeah, their goal is to lose 15 pounds, but they want to lose 15 pounds because they want to be able to, you know, run around with their kids in the yard and then feel good about it and not have to stop after 10 minutes. And their kid's like, Mom, I still want to play with you. And you're like, I'm so tired. I can't. You know, like there's always a root why behind like the weight loss. So I think like finding the root of the why and then just reminding them of that. Like, yeah, okay, great. You lost your 15 pounds. That's amazing. Like, how are you feeling? Are you able to do the things now that you want to do? And if you stop, like, do you think that you're going to still be able to do those things in like 5-10 years? Or do you think that, you know, it's going to get harder? Right. And just reminding them like, this is what you have to do every day and you have to stick to it so that in 10, 15, 20 years from now, like you don't have to worry about it. Yes. You know, you don't have to be like, oh man, I have to start again. I gained the weight back. Now I got to go back and lose it again. Right. And it's going to be way harder to start. But if it's, again, like I said before, it's like if you're stacking the habits daily, it's just going to become part of your routine. And I think, just reminding them of like their why behind it and not just like what's on the scale. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And I think, you explained it very well because our greatest fear as coaches is they walk out the door and they never come back. Yeah. And everything that they just gained and everything that they lost has gone with them. And, you know, and again, they might feel, you know, kind of nervous to like reach back out again and realize that maybe they should have never stopped in the first place. But again, it's not about that. It's more about, you know, how do we make sure that we're getting, you know, we're giving them what they need. We're giving them the information that they need, the motivation that they need. And, you know, even if it's dropping from 3 or 4 times a week down to 1 or 2 times a week during certain periods of time, or, you know, adjusting the schedule, maybe coming in more on the weekends versus during the week and, you know, changing from an evening workout to a morning workout, even though you might not want to wake up that early, but you have to check that box. Mm-hmm. And, you know, what we do inside of the gym, obviously, is, you know, it's performance based. It is science backed, but it leads to so many other changes in their lives. And the minute that they stop, then they start to realize like, oh, what was it about like 6 months ago that I was feeling so much better? It's like, well, you were working out 3 times a week and you didn't forget and you didn't skip. And when you did forget or skip, Coach Jess was reaching out to you, getting you back in the gym. And if she didn't do that, you probably would have missed another 2 or 3 workouts. And then maybe you would have gotten it. And that's how it spirals. And that's how it kind of snowballs into like never working out again or, you know, going so far away from your goal that it's really hard to get back. Yeah. But yeah, what are some of like the major things that you hear in your meetings and stuff that are really kind of like holding adults back from getting you know, to the results that they're looking for, even though they might be coming to the gym? But what are some of the things that like lifestyle factors that are happening, you know, outside of the gym that are kind of sabotaging their results, whether it be on the InBody scale or, you know, results inside of the gym, you know, on the weight?
Yeah. I think, again, it comes down to schedule. Like, I don't have time to eat healthy. I grab and go, or I don't have time to cook for myself. The kids, they're playing 3 sports and this and that, and I got to get to work and things like that. But then we make a game plan. So it's like things like that. I want people to tell me, because then it's like, okay, you don't have the time, but I'm sure you do. We just got to sit down and figure out where the time is, you know? Other than that, it's the going out on the weekends. Yep. Oh, I want to have my martini with dinner. Oh, I have my glass of wine. Yes, it's the going out and the
one
drinking.
Glass is fine, but it usually is not just one. It's
exactly.
More like
and I'm
one
like,
bottle
you had one glass.
That leads to ordering dessert. That leads to the next morning having pancakes, and it's just it's usually not just what they say. Exactly. the one thing that they did.
So, yeah, I'm like, you had one glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not adding up. Math doesn't math.
I don't know about that. I always say, the scale doesn't lie.
Right.
InBody scale, it's going to tell me, so you might as well be honest with me. But, I think stuff like that, which I think it's fine. I think filling your social bucket is so important. So it's fine to go out and 100%. Get a drink and hang out with friends. It's very important. But it's, again, like, are you doing it every single night, or are you doing it 4 times a week? Like, if you're really, focusing on feeling better and, getting results, then you kind of have to cut back on things like that. And like I said, you don't have to fully cut out, but you got to just be mindful of it.
Right. Yeah. There's a balance with all of it. And, sometimes it's all or nothing for people. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat perfect, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And the question is, how sustainable is that long term? Right. But yeah, one of the biggest things, like the underlying foundation of working out, of staying strong, right? I think a lot of people, especially people that are not athletes, they're not really thinking about like building muscle or maintaining muscle, but that's such an important part of what we do and how you can balance your health. Even if you are, eating wrong and burning the candle at both ends, as long as you're showing up 2 or 3 times a week, you're going to be able to get back on track much easier than if those workouts fall off, right? I've always found that consistency, at least of holding on to that muscle mass, it's really hard to kind of get it back once you've lost it. So, especially after the age of 40, which is really our adult population, is mostly those people, that have kind of gone through having young children in the house, not prioritizing themselves, looking to build themselves back. You don't want to build yourself back and then break it down again, right? What's the point? We need to stay consistent. So, such an important part. Yeah, I mean, so tell us a little bit about, obviously people will come here and, they've got some really big, ambitious goals, and they really want to transform, right? We have our transformation challenges. We've got 3 a year. We've got New Year, New You that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Crazy. My goodness, a couple of weeks already. We've got our Summer Shred. That's the first one that we had run. And then we have our Fit for Fall. So we've got 3 challenges a year. They're each about either 4 or 6 weeks. And I think that, there are times of the year where most people are looking to get back in shape or get in shape for something. But also there's just like times of the year that maybe you could focus a little bit more. And that's kind of why they fit in the calendar the way that they have. You've got after your New Year's resolution that wears off, about 5 or 3 weeks into January, we start our New Year, New You. Even though most people want to start on January 1st, those things kind of bleed into, the end of the month. And then we've got getting ready for the beach. That's that time of year. And then Fit for Fall is really like you've had your whole summer and you've probably lost your abs or lost your results that you got during the 6-week challenge. Time to get you back on track. So it's not that we want people to be focused on fat loss all the time, but they are around the times when people really do need to get back on track. Sure. But also, so tell us a little bit about some of the biggest transformations that you've seen in your time here working at AMP.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
A lot. I mean, hundreds.
Yes,
it's incredible.
It's crazy what these people do. But I think one that really sticks out is someone named Markella. I actually was looking at her stats and her InBody stuff just the other day, and I was just like, oh my God, like she's incredible. She started in I'd say April of 2024, so kind of around right when I started as well. Mm-hmm. So we started our journeys together, but she came in and she was, looking to lose weight, looking to get stronger. She was really focusing on, building muscle, which I love when women come in and they're like, I want to build muscle. I'm like, yes, let's go. But she started off, I think, over 100 pounds of body fat. And today she's down to, I think, less than 50 pounds of body fat on her body. So she's lost a lot, like over 50 pounds of body fat since starting with us. Her visceral levels, she was at a 20. That's how high our scale goes. Maybe it was higher than that. I don't know. But she's down to a 9 now.
Wow.
Which is a tremendous change.
Under 10 is really where you want to be.
Insane. Her body fat was at 51% when she started. She's down to 30%.
Amazing.
And I was talking to her today about it. I was like, she was like, Coach Brendan actually told me you were looking at my stuff. I was like, yeah, I was. Because I was like, oh my God, you need to be recognized. This is crazy. And then she was very excited about it. She started showing me pictures, and she was showing me pictures from 3 years in a row. And I was like, this is so crazy. You look completely different. You probably feel so much better. And she's like, I feel amazing. And she's an avid 5:30 a.m.er. She never misses a 5:30 a.m. If she does, she's here in the afternoon. Very consistent. Even when she goes on vacation, she goes to Greece during the summer. She's working out over in Greece. She's doing virtual training, very consistent. And that was one of the craziest ones that I've seen.
The impact on her life is just incredible. And that's essentially what we do. That's what you do, right? You change people's lives for the better. And some of the stats just jump off the page.
And not even that, she has kids, and she brought her kids in, and that's such a great role model. To look up to your mom, she's so strong, she's lifting these weights, and she's just setting such a good example for her kids too. So she's just incredible. So that's cool. One of the coolest ones. But there's plenty. There's plenty
absolutely
more.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you start to notice, or that people start to notice about themselves that they didn't know about themselves, or they didn't even think they would care about a couple of months into training? Because we said, you have that honeymoon period in the beginning where you maybe lost 10 or 15 pounds in the first 90 days, and then after a while you start to realize, oh man, I can do X or Z. I didn't know I could ever do that. What are some of the things that you've seen?
Yeah, I think people come in and like you said, they're focused on losing weight. Then they start to realize, oh, it's not just about losing weight, it's about, getting stronger, gaining muscle. And then they kind of shift their mindset from, okay, maybe I'm not trying to necessarily lose weight. I'm trying to just get strong. So people will come in and be like, oh, push-ups, whatever, I don't really care about them. And then 3 months in, they're like, oh my God, do you remember when I came in, I could only do 2, and now I'm doing 10. And I'm like, yeah. And pull-ups, little things like that, especially for women, push-ups, pull-ups, those are kind of hard for us, so pull-ups, a lot of the women that come in, they don't even think, they probably never even thought about doing a pull-up.
A lot of the men can't do pull-ups either.
Yeah, and now they're
we've
coming
got
in.
women pumping out sets of 10.
And
it's
I'm
incredible.
like, how are you guys doing this? I'm like, do you remember when you came in and you were like, that's going to be my goal. I'm going to get up on that bar and I'm going to do 1 body weight pull-up. And now you're doing 5 in a row, you know? So it's they start to focus on the non-scale victories, which are so important. Wow, I'm goblet squatting this huge 70-pound weight, I remember when I was only doing 20 pounds and I thought that was heavy. So then they start to focus on things like that, which ends up snowballing being the best thing for you to focus on, because now you want to get stronger, and then in return you're reaching your goals. You're gonna lose the fat, So
Yeah. And now you've improved your metabolism, like probably for the rest of your life. You will probably age a lot more gracefully because now you have the lower body strength, the core strength, the muscle mass that we know that we lose, about percent per year after the age of like 30 or 40 if you're not strength training. There's a lot of people that are, even people that are on like GLPs and losing weight. Yes, they're losing weight, but they're also losing muscle mass. And there's nothing wrong with GLPs if it's done correctly, which means you have to strength train. So you have to maintain and gain muscle mass so that the weight that you're losing is actually body fat and not muscle, and you're making yourself skinny fat. And now we've created a whole other slew of issues that can, cause a lot of other, problems down the line that you just don't, you don't want to break your hip in your 70s and 80s. You want to be able to catch yourself when you're about to fall. Like all of those little things, even some of the exercises that we'll do are way more athletic based, like doing a mini box jump or something like that.
Yeah.
People wouldn't have thought that that's what they could do, but it's the same thing about slipping on the ice or falling out, down the stairs or something like that, because you couldn't catch yourself. Your nervous system wasn't ready for it. Now we're challenging you in a safe environment, doing it the right way. And now we're preparing you for life when things can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so cool. And like people come in and they even show us like, oh, I went to the doctor and like, look at this. My A1C numbers are completely different. They're so much better. Or I did a bone density test and my bones are so much stronger. Like when people come in and show us that and like they're literally giving us papers like, look at this, like it's really cool. It's like I'm so
awesome.
happy you're focusing on things like that rather than just what the scale's saying. So yeah, they start to focus on the real important things, and it's cool. It's cool to see.
That's awesome. And I think you've said a lot today, but what would you say, what is it about AMP that keeps people coming for years? We have so many clients that have been with us for 3, 4, 5 years or longer in our adult program. What is it about AMP and what is it that we're doing that, most gyms struggle to keep people for a couple of months, right? Most gyms, they open their doors in January and it's packed wall to wall. I'm pointing across the street to Lifetime. And then, by March 1st, like there's no one, right? Yeah. It's crickets. So what is the difference between this environment versus like any other?
Yeah, I think going back to how we started this conversation, it's about community and the people that we have here, the coaches, the staff, like we actually care. It's not just like, oh, we're going to work, we're clocking in, we're clocking out. It's like, no, like this is our life. Like we're doing this because like we truly do care. And it's not like, oh, I got to go to work and I got to do this and I got to train this client, oh, whatever. No, it's like, oh my God, Markella's come in today. I know she really, really wanted to hit that 80-pound weight. I'm going to make sure she does it, and like you're constantly thinking about it. And that's what we have here. Like every coach, I'm 100% positive feels the same way as I do. When we're not here, we're still thinking about the clients. We're thinking about what they're doing. We're thinking about, oh, when they come in next, what do we got to do for them? Like, how can we make their experience better? So I think like that's very important. And it separates us from other places. Like, I'm sure you've been to a big box gym. We all have. And it's like, yeah, you go in, you're by yourself.
Get your headphones on.
Try
not to look at anybody in the eyes.
No one's talking to you, and you're just like, which maybe some people do like that. But honestly, like, are you going to stick with that? Probably not. I think a lot of people,
That's the intimidating factor.
Yeah.
Because the people that work out at those gyms that like it don't want friends.
No.
They want to go in, they want to work out, they don't want to talk, and they want their headphones on, they want you to leave them alone.
Yeah. But I think, like, people stick to something because they find a community and a place where they fit in. And then, I mean, that goes to show our 6:30 a.m.ers. Those are the ones that have been here for 5, 6, whatever many years, and they've stuck with it. And now they're texting each other on the side. They're hanging out outside of here. They're like, if somebody's not there, they're like, where's Lisa today?
Right.
Is she okay? And she's like, guys, I just slept in.
Yeah.
I'm good. It's like it's so funny to see. But I think that's what keeps people coming back here. And it comes down to the coaches, and you've done a great job bringing people on that like truly care. So
absolutely, I mean, thank you.
It's a huge testament to you and what you've built here. So
yeah, that's what makes it special, and that's what I'm proud of every day. And I love to, to live through you guys. And, obviously I was there on the floor all those hours for a long period of time, but, being able to support you guys and create this environment where you can thrive, do what you love to do. And what we love to do is, again, we're talking about changing lives.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool to show up in sweatpants to work every day and
best.
change lives, or leggings. I don't think
sweatpants sometimes.
I don't wear leggings every day, but sometimes. So what would be one last kind of thing that you would say to someone that's maybe a little nervous about joining a gym, or, just getting started, being intimidated maybe by a place like this? What's something that you would say to somebody that, is having a hard time taking that first step?
Yeah, I think they just need to take the first step, walk into the doors, and then we got it from there. As soon as you walk in, you find the right coach, you find the right community, and they're going to take it from there. I think that's the main thing. The first step is the hardest, but once you find the right spot, you're going to know, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to want to come back, After your first session in the right community with the right people around you, you're going to leave feeling like, wow, I can't wait to go back. Like, I have to go back,
Absolutely.
So I think that's the main thing.
Thank you, Jess, and thanks for being a part of this community and creating this environment and culture that we've built over here at AMP. And thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. Please do us a favor, like, subscribe, and share this episode. I hope it inspires and educates you a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes here at AMP and some of the amazing people we get to work with every day. Thanks.